Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fan Dummies. I'm Greg.
And I'm Aaron.
And in this video, we're going to review the #1 series on Netflix, Sweet Tooth. We might as well just dive in, shall we?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see any part fish, part boy. So it's just mammals, I guess? Has to be.
That's a good question.
What would be your cutest animal person?
A dog person, probably.
A dog person?
I mean, is that even a question?
Can you imagine how awkward it would be, though, if the dogs could talk? I mean, imagine being able to talk, but not have thumbs.
I don't know. I watch We Bear Bears and the bears talk. There's a lot of shows with animals that talk.
Yeah, I guess so.
Human-like. And just because they are hybrid doesn't mean that they're superhuman like Gus.
True.
A lot of the hybrids, they're more just animals. They barely can talk.
Yeah.
Or no one's taught them how to talk, so they just barely can say anything.
They're more animal than human, so they're not super smart.
So it goes both ways.
Well, there were a ton of human-animal hybrids in this show. What did you think of the sets, the costumes, the color grading, just like the look and feel of this show?
I think that's what made the show stand out to me. A lot of it was filmed in nondescript forest.
Yeah.
But you could tell it was a fancy forest. It wasn't just the Vancouver forest that we normally see.
Yeah, that is true. It seemed different.
Yeah. And it was shot in New Zealand.
Wow.
Which was pretty cool. I mean, the costumes, I think they did a really great job with all the costumes. I really liked the animal army and how you saw a lot of people wearing animal masks and just dystopian type outfits. Nothing's really that clean and everything's kind of has a little gritty look to it. Nothing's new.
Yeah. What I missed that they showed a lot in The Walking Dead, but not so much in this show, is the dystopian parts of the human world. Dr. Singh's kind of suburbia setting was kind of like Alexandria in The Walking Dead.
I was thinking that too.
But like we didn't get to see not many like stores and no shopping malls. And I always love a good shopping mall tour in a dystopian TV series.
I don't think you got to the part in the comics where they go to a mall to buy new clothes because they're heading to Alaska and they need warm clothes and they need camping supplies and stuff.
Yeah.
So they go to a mall and I was like, oh my gosh, Greg is going to love this. Greg is going to love this.
By the way, spoiler alert. There's going to be spoilers in this video. So, sorry if we already got you.
Yeah. That's pretty far along in the comics.
Yeah.
It's totally worth reading the comics just for that.
When I first saw Gus played by Christian Convery, I was really worried because we talk a lot about shows with kids and we almost always hate the kids.
Well, it's usually in like post-apocalyptic worlds and then it's just dark and gritty and all of a sudden there's a kid.
Yeah.
And it's just awkward and weird.
Yeah. And they're just, they're children, so they're mostly terrible actors.
And they're supposed to be bad or they're supposed to be too innocent. It just doesn't mix.
What did you think of Christian playing Gus?
I thought he did a pretty great job for being 10 years old. And once I got over the disappointment that the show is not gritty and dark like the comics that I loved, I think Christian was a really good pick.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have another fun fact about Christian.
Oh my gosh. Tell us.
He's been training in parkour for 2 years to prepare for his role as Gus.
Since he was 8?
Yes.
Oh.
There were some scenes where he was flipping and running and jumping and whatnot. And I was like, oh, is that actually him? Or is that a stunt double? Or how did they do that? But now it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's his own parkour stunts.
The entire time, I always was worried that he was going to hit his horns on stuff. Were you?
Oh,
like it's
yes.
100% anxiety all the time.
Horn anxiety.
Oh my gosh.
Or antler anxiety.
Oh yeah, antler. Sorry, my mistake. Because he's a deer.
I kept thinking, and even when I was reading the comics, I was like, it would be super easy for him to break an antler off, or if something was happening, there's always fight scenes that he would lose an antler and then he would be walking around with one antler and the other one's like a nub. And then I thought to myself, don't antlers grow back? Because I know I've seen deer running around missing an antler. I need to look that up.
I don't think antlers grow back.
I thought we've had this conversation and you were like, oh no, don't worry, Aaron, the antlers grow back. Because I see deer with like missing an antler.
Yeah, I don't. I if I did, I was BSing because I don't know that.
Just trying to make me feel better about it.
Maybe you just accepted my crap. I don't know. First off, the first couple episodes were rough for me.
Yeah.
I was even on social media going, I don't know about this show.
You did?
Yeah. Because of Christian Convery, I just was like, if I'm subjected to this 10-year-old the entire show, it's going to be horrible. It was a mix of Christian got dramatically better throughout the show and acting, which was good.
They shot the pilot before everything happened with the virus in real life. And then after that, I mean, it's probably been a year or so, and then they went back and they filmed it. So he grew up a little bit too.
Can you imagine making a show about this and then the pandemic hits? Yeah. You're like, uh-oh.
The crazy thing is that this was written in 2009.
Yeah. And
it just hits home a little too close right now.
It does. It does.
But not enough that I didn't stop watching it.
True. So what did you think of the casting overall? Do you think they did a good job casting?
Yeah, I think they cast all the characters really well. I think it's always hard to find good child actors and then good teenage actors. But I think the ones that they found for Bear and Gus, I think they worked well. And even Wendy.
Yeah.
She was cute too.
Yeah. She's going to be good. I hope we see a lot more of her. You just never know. She could be dissected by the next time season 2 rolls around.
And I liked all the adults as well. Like Amy, she seems like a really good person. Even Jeopard, I liked him, even though he was a big change from the comic. He just seems a lot nicer in the series. And I really like Jeopard in the comics.
Yeah. You were looking forward to like some Clint Eastwood kind of guy.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I could tell. You're just like, he's just like, get off my lawn. Come with me, Gus.
Yeah. Man, you hit that on the head.
I know.
Get out of my head, Greg.
We review enough of these. I know what you're expecting. I didn't read the comics before I watched the show.
Yeah.
So I instantly loved Jeopard. Like I thought, this is the perfect kind of character to help Gus.
Yeah.
Because people will be intimidated by his size. He was a lineman or linebacker. I don't know anything about sports, but he played football. And he was the people who block and hit. He's an imposing figure. But I can tell you that he just seemed nicer than a lot of the other people on the show.
Yeah, for sure.
So he just doesn't seem very mean.
Yeah, I mean, in the show, he has a wife. He has a kid. I mean, he's not a bad person.
Yeah, I think he's definitely a much better person than comic Jeopard. I mean, all in all, I liked the casting. I will say that my least favorite is this Neil Sandilands. Like in the Flash show, the Thinker, like you can go back and listen to my comments. I didn't like the Thinker. I thought the actor sucked. I thought the whole thing was terrible. And we did a show about it.
It just went on for too long, maybe.
Yeah. I wasn't super excited to learn that this was him in this.
But it makes sense.
Like it all clicked in my head because it was like overacted and cartoony.
Yeah.
And to me, it seemed like Neil Sandilands was playing John Malkovich, who was playing General Abbott. Like he was playing a dude, playing another dude, playing a dude. You know what I mean? Tropic Thunder. Come on,
Got it.
That's a Robert Downey Jr. reference and everything. That was so good. Gosh, give me pat myself on the back, I guess. But that's honestly what it felt like. And I hope it gets better. But so far, General Abbott is my least favorite character. Let's just answer the question that's on everyone's mind, Aaron. Do you think this show is better than the comic?
No, but I think that the series is so different than the comics that I ended up liking them both.
Yeah. So I've read to issue 12 or 13-ish, somewhere around that in the comic. I absolutely prefer the comic story, without a doubt. I think it's just more for me. Like, I'm its target audience.
Yeah.
I want to see some dystopian craziness.
I don't even care so much about the dystopian craziness.
Mm-hmm.
I like cute stuff usually. That's what kind of surprises me.
Yeah.
That I do find the comic so great. But it reminds me a lot of the Walking Dead comics that I love.
Right.
And it has that same grittiness and feel to them that I think if you like The Walking Dead or if you like Why the Last Man comics that are post-apocalyptic, that you're going to like Sweet Tooth, the comic.
Yeah. Now, that being said, I did really, really like the show. Like,
yeah.
I loved the show.
Yeah.
It took a while to warm up on me, but I will say the show is great.
Yeah.
It's just really, really good.
Yeah, it had a lot of backstories. So I'm surprised that you said that, but I think that helps round out the characters more. Because in comics, it's really hard to have that full character development. So in the shows, it's kind of nice to have that fuller character development.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like going from a movie to a TV show, even.
Well, what I liked about it is that it connected Gus in a more science fiction way versus like a mystical woo-woo way.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
True.
You know, the fact that he's kind of a part of this virus in some way and that there are scientists that know and understand it, that makes it super cool to me. And it's not like I said, some woo-woo magic curse or some crap like that.
Like from the comic?
That's where I think the comic's going. All right. Do you think this will get a season 2?
Yeah, it has to get a season 2. I would be surprised if it doesn't.
There is no universe where this does not get a season 2.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the number 1 show on Netflix. It's blowing up social media wise. Like, so many of my friends, no matter if they're science fiction fans or not, are commenting about just kind of discovering the show. It was not on our recommended list, by the way, for Netflix. I don't know if Netflix was downplaying it or what, but it was not being pushed to us. We had to search for it.
When I went into my profile later to check out some Netflix descriptions for the show, I did see it like right on top of mine.
Yeah. Well, now, because we've looked at it on my profile.
Maybe, yeah.
But
I also watch a lot cuter stuff on my profile than you.
Yeah. But I that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't believe that I'm the target audience for this show. But I am the target audience for the comic.
Yeah.
All right. Let's give this thing a rating. Aaron, you go first. On a score of 0 to 5 stars, 5 stars being the most, what do you give it?
I give it a 4.
Okay.
And I think one of the reasons for that, if I didn't read the comics, I think I would have enjoyed the series even more. I think just starting with the first episode, I was kind of let down that it wasn't dark and gritty.
Yeah.
And like the comic. I mean, Gus was really cute. Jeopard doesn't seem like Clint Eastwood at all. It just took me a little bit to go, this is different. Aaron, you have to get over that fact. It's not going to be like the comic. Once I came to that realization, I let that go and I was able to enjoy it.
Yeah. So for me, it's a little bit different. So I also give it a 4, but not because I read the comics and I do prefer the comic story, but because you can tell this show is supposed to be dark.
Yeah.
Even what we saw on the series, it would have been better a little darker.
Yeah, it kind of falls in that middle zone. Is it for kids? Is it for adults? Because I think if I had kids, I wouldn't let them watch this if I knew. No,
we watched someone burn alive in their house. Like,
yeah, I'm almost through with the comics. I think there's like 41 or 46 or something issues, and I'm on 32, I think. But I haven't came to a backstory of Dr. Singh and his like neighborhood association monitoring the people with the virus, and then they're burning the people alive in their house. So I don't know if that came from the comic or not, but if that is written for the show, that's one of the creepiest parts about the show to me.
Yeah.
So like to make it family friendly, I think they should have left that out.
Yeah. So, I mean, It's just simple for me. I think the first few episodes were slow.
Yeah.
I think it took a long time to get up to speed. I mean, essentially, episode 1 and 2 was like a backstory for Gus, even though he gets a full backstory still. They had to introduce us to Gus, and they had to introduce us to his father, and they had to like introduce us to how he lived in the woods.
Yeah, everybody got a backstory, did they?
Yeah, and it just was unnecessary.
The comics start off with, Gus and the father living in the cabin, and then Jeopard, he saves Gus from these other hunters, and his father dies like right away.
Mm-hmm.
So it jumps right into it.
Yeah.
In the series, it takes a while for the story to actually get started.
Yeah, and you don't lose anything in the comics by doing that. Like you get the story right away.
Yeah.
So for that, I'm going to give it a 4, which I think is pretty high in my opinion.
That's high.
It's so far from a 5 though, like that it's almost a 3.5.
Yeah, I was debating on going on a 3.5.
Yeah.
I think the more I watched it, the more I enjoyed it. And
same.
The more I realized it wasn't going to ever be like the comics, I let that go.
Well, I just think that when shows like this are in the middle of the road, they just can't be great.
Yeah.
Like you have to either commit to being for kids or you got to commit to being for adults.
Yeah.
Like this middle ground just is like a milk toast medium kind of weirdness.
Yeah. I kind of wish that they would have went a little softer on it if they weren't going to follow the comics. Yeah, because I think they could have left out like the burning of the people in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I think they could have left out maybe a little bit more of the violence. I think it might appeal to even more people.
Yeah.
Like if you have a tween or a 10-year-old or whatever you call them, I think somewhere like someone Gus's age.
Yeah.
Because I don't think someone Gus's age should be watching this.
You can't let your 10-year-old watch a show where 10-year-olds are getting dissected.
That's pretty gross.
You just can't do it.
Yeah.
14, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, maybe.
It's questionable.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's it. I recommend people watch this. I think it's the best show on Netflix for a reason. It's got a lot of great things going for it. I would say just make sure to get at least through episode 3, maybe even episode 4. It gets better.
Yeah.
It gets better.
I think definitely watch it. And if you haven't read the comics and you like reading comics, for sure go read the comics.
Yeah.
They're some of my favorite comics I read in a really long time. Because I read a lot of superheroes usually. And those are always great. But this is a really great non-superhero comic.
Yeah. This comic's better than Jupiter's Legacy for sure.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And then we just read Invincible. And
Invincible's really awesome.
Yeah, that's really good.
It's not better than Invincible.
Different though. That's superheroes, I guess. It's hard to, you can't compare superheroes and like sci-fi, fantasy, horror type books.
Yeah.
It's hard. We'll have a link in the description below so you can go buy the comics. And if you do have the DC Universe Infinite app, you can go read the Sweet Tooth comics on there for what you're paying for that subscription.
Honestly, the DC Universe Infinite or whatever dumb name that they've named it is worth the money. I think it's like $100 a year or something.
I don't even know if it's that much.
It might not even be that much. I can't remember, but we read so many comics on that thing. It's not even funny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Marvel has the equivalent and it's really good too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for watching this video of Fan Dummies. Let us know in the comments below what you thought of DC Comics' Sweet Tooth original series on Netflix. Wow, that's a mouthful. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss anything. And if this is your first time here, we cover superheroes and science fiction, TV and movies every single week.
A lot of times we read comics that movies and shows are based on.
Yeah, we do a lot of adaptations, which is really, really fun. If you're looking for the full podcast episode of Sweet Tooth, we'll put that in the description below, along with buying all the comics and all the things that we talk about. We'll put all that stuff in the links below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you like this Sweet Tooth content, we have more Sweet Tooth content and other DC content right up here. So just click one of these. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know what I'm saying. Let's see. They're over here. They're over here. Yeah, I think they're over here. All right. Thanks.